It's Christmas time, and you know I love a good themed cookbook. So I'm going to make the first recipe out of this cookbook I just got. I will link the cookbook down below. So it has recipes that are in Christmas themed movies or inspired by Christmas themed movies. And the author, besides the recipe, also talks about the movie that the recipe is either inspired from or in. So it's really fascinating. I really like it. But since December, I'm going to focus on Christmas cookies. Let's start with the first Christmas cookie one. Normally, I try to block out the recipe out of respect to the author. Like, you should buy her book. I still think you should buy her book, but this is not a unique recipe. This is classic peanut butter cookie recipe. And so hold on one second. My cat is causing problems. Give me 1 second. So the author is calling this recipe Peanuts Butter Cookie, inspired by a Charlie Brown Christmas. I don't really remember cookies in that cartoon, but it's been a while. I think this is more just inspired by the name. I have definitely ate a lot of peanut butter cookies, but I've never actually made any, so this is pretty exciting. But I did absolutely look it up, comparing this recipe to others, and this is a classic recipe, so I will show it to you. 1 cup of unsalted butter, 1 1/2 cups firmly packed light brown sugar, 1/2 cup granulated sugar plus more for garnish, 2 large eggs, 2 cups creamy or chunky peanut butter. I am using creamy, 2 teaspoons vanilla extract, 2 1/2 cups flour, 1 teaspoon baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon baking soda, 3/4 teaspoon fine sea salt, which I do not have fine sea salt. I will be using regular salt. And whip your wet ingredients together, whip your dry ingredients together, mix that all together. And the difference in this one is you are to cover and chill the dough for at least 30 minutes or until firm. Usually that's when you make sugar cookies, you have to refrigerate that dough for a while. So this peanut butter dough, I'm going to make it now because it's kind of late at night, and then I will bake the cookies in the morning, giving it plenty of time to chill. So let's get all these, let's whip the butter, and usually, is that what it says? Usually, yeah, beat the butter and sugars together until creamy and smooth, add the eggs, and beat until blended. If you've ever made sugar cookies, pretty standard process, or any cookies, you whip the butter and the sugar first. Just a quick note on this book, because I do actually recommend it. I bought this. I am not sponsored whatsoever. I just really enjoy this cookbook. It's not just cookies. I'm just going to do a bunch of cookies for the month of December, but there is all kinds of here's some drinks, there's some savory dishes, there's a bunch of drinks in the beginning, but definitely savory soups, appetizers, just all kinds of recipes. And the author did a lot of research with each Christmas movie, and I really love it. So definitely recommend it. Even though I haven't made a recipe yet, I definitely recommend it, because just reading the movie facts alone is well worth it. This is all the wet ingredients mixed together. Doesn't that look delicious? I haven't even added the dry, so I can see why it says it makes 6 dozen cookies, because it's turning into a lot of batter or dough. So the dough is combined, and I taste tested it. Oh my god, it is so delicious. And I can see why it needs to be refrigerated, because it's very sticky. So once it's refrigerated for at least a half hour, we're going to roll it into little 1-inch dough balls, flatten it out with the fork so it looks like that. But I'm going to wait and do that in the morning, like I said. So I'm refrigerating it more than it recommends, but I figured it's going to be okay. I've done that before. A lot of times people, when they're making a lot of Christmas cookies, they will make a bunch of the dough at once and then freeze it and then pull it out later. So when I get up in the morning, I'll just pull it out and let it come to room temperature, 10 or 20 minutes while I get everything ready. Mimosa, she's still learning. She's new. I gotta train her not to get on the counter, but she's just a little baby. No, the water bottle works on the rest of the cats, but she's just a little baby, so I hate to spray her with water. And then I also wanted to point out, this is the vanilla I use. I love this vanilla. I discovered it one time on a trip to Mexico, and this is my 3rd or 4th bottle. When I run out, I just order more online, because I'm not going back to Mexico anytime soon. So you can find it online. I definitely recommend it. Much better than like the typical grocery store vanilla. And I know you can also make your own vanilla. I've seen videos on that. I just haven't tried it yet. Vanilla beans themselves are pretty expensive. So for me, it's just as easy and cheap to buy this bottle. And it lasts me for like a year. So yeah, that sounds about right. About go through one bottle a year. So that's my favorite vanilla. It's the next morning. I'm gonna roll the dough into 1-inch balls, flatten with a fork like this. And also says if you desire, you can roll the ball in sugar. I don't like mine with a little extra sugar, so we're not rolling it in sugar. And then you bake it for 10 minutes. So this doesn't make 7 dozen cookies. So let's see how many cookies we make. Did I say you cook it for 10 minutes or until golden brown? My husband just told me I need to take off like 6 cookies off of that count because apparently he taste tested the dough a lot last night. So we have to factor into husband spoilage. I mentioned earlier in the video that I was going to take the dough out and let it come to room temperature to get out of the fridge. I did not. I am working directly from taking it out of the fridge, not giving it any time to come to room temperature just because I want to get this done. And it doesn't need it. Yes, it's way harder than it was last night, but it's easy to work with. It's a little crumbly, but we'll see. And it's supposed to be 1-inch balls, and I'm trying to do this one-handed is not working. I'm pretty sure these are bigger than 1-inch balls, but this is what I'm doing. All right, you get the idea. I need 2 hands. Here's what the cookies look like before. Here's what they look like after. So they do spread a little, but not too much. I could probably fit more than 6 on a sheet. I don't, because this is how I keep track of how many dozens I make, just by doing 12 at a time. But they look pretty darn good. Taste test, because I'm starving. So brown on the bottom. I was afraid I didn't cook them enough. The one thing about peanut butter, I think it's kind of hard to tell when it's done because it's already brown. The instructions said 10 minutes. I ended up doing 12. Perfect. Oh my God. Oh my God. Such a simple recipe, but so good. These cookies are so good. And it's like, some cookies are pretty expensive to make. This is a relatively inexpensive cookie. It's got all the ingredients you already in your house. You already have in your house. I think the only expensive item is the peanut butter. I don't think I'm going to end up freezing any of these because I'm going to eat them all. I said the only expensive thing was the peanut butter, and I'm sure a lot of you are thinking like, Jenny, peanut butter is cheap. It was. Peanut butter was cheap. So the jar of Peter Pan, that was like just a little over 2 cups. Like it took 2 cups for this recipe. I used almost the whole jar. And that jar of peanut butter was like almost $5 for 2 cups of peanut butter. And I realized I could have bought like generic for less than 3, but, and I have no problem buying generic in lots of cases, but peanut butter, no. Peanut butter brands do make a difference, in my opinion. So good. I need to see how much peanut butter in bulk is at Costco or Sam's, because I could see making a lot of these at Christmas time.